Hello, in previous video we saw how much we can achieve without using webpack. So we got to the point where we were importing other JavaScript files from our project using JavaScript modules directly supported by the browsers, or even we've been importing Node modules that were importing using npm. So to continue in this video, we will see what more we can achieve by using webpack. And to start that, I copied the same project that we saw before, and I will be adding webpack to it. To install webpack, I run this command npm install webpack save dev, because it's development dependency. It just takes a moment. We have a success result. I commit the changes. For now, we will be bundling with default webpack configuration. So here on the webpack documentation, we see that it's taking source JavaScript and outputting it into this main.js. Okay, so in our code, we have you're having our code inside the source JavaScript file. So let's see if we can already build it. We will copy this part. Well, it's saying how to build with different configuration, but we will use the default configuration to have npm script for building. So in our package JSON, in the script section, I'm just adding this part, and instead of specifying configuration, we just leave it as it is. So let's see if that works. Build. Oh, a little bit of installation. Okay, they just force us to specify the development mode. Let's do it here. Production. And let's build again. Okay, as we can see right now, everything goes without any error, and we are outputting the main.js. So to have our project use the newly created file, let's update it here. So instead of importing index.js, this main. Okay, so let's see if our page is working. Okay, it's working as expected, and just to confirm, it is main.js that is being loaded, and the main.js looks like this. This is our first benefit of using webpack. If you compare this with our previous implementation, here you see that instead of one file, we are having 3 different JavaScript files, and especially for production deployment, that can make a difference because, well, here on the development environment, it's just like my computer talking to my computer. So there is no latency between introduced by HTTP queries, but for production deployments, we have some remote server, and maybe our visitor is using a mobile internet. So it's every additional query is adding a delay, and those JavaScript files here are very small. So it makes sense to go from multiple JavaScript files to only one JavaScript file, which is having all the content that we need for our application to work. Before we continue, let's commit our changes. We have a dist folder here, something that we would rather avoid committing to our repository. So let's add it to our git ignore. Okay, now it looks better. and we are committing the changes. The next benefit of webpack is that we can simplify our imports of npm modules. So instead of specifying exact path, we can use we can use on just the name of the module we are importing from, and we can drop the JS extension at the end, and this will be translated. That will be understood by webpack, so we can rebuild our application. And as you can see, everything is working just fine. And that doesn't really matter in our current application because we have just one JavaScript file that is importing to other files. But imagine what happens if our project grows and we have multiple files. And as you can see, previously our path was relative, so it was depending on from which place we are importing, this path would be different. So if our project, if at some point we are doing some refactoring and we are moving files around, we are changing our paths, that would be really a headache to update. And it's just so much simpler to reference the absolute path and have webpack figure out for us what's actually supposed to happen. So let's commit our changes. Okay. For the next benefit, we will have to analyze the output code. So as you can see, the code here is being it's being minimized. So pretty much it's unreadable. So let me use this plugin, JavaScript Beautifier, that is for Chrome. In whatever browser you are using, probably there is some extension that allows for exactly the same thing, which is just making the code readable. And we can recognize some parts of our application. So for example, this part is coming directly from echo file, and some other parts that we don't recognize because are coming from underscore library. So if you pay close attention to this file, you can already see some optimization done by webpack just with a default configuration. Is here I was creating this temporary element that I was just assigning to, and then I was setting on this variable I was setting the attribute, and it's actually gone in our output code. So this basic optimization figure out that we just create this this constant just to use it in the very next line, and it collapsed the constant into it just removed it, saving a little bit characters. And the same thing is happening with the same benefit of minimizing our JavaScript is happening by minimization, by removing all the white spaces that are not really necessary for code to run correctly. And every character that is removed from JavaScript files is a little bit less of traffic. So it's saving both our the resources on our server, and it's saving the connection or the data plan of our visitors. So that were the benefits that we were just getting out of the basic webpack configuration. And there are even more advanced cases that I will cover in a following videos. But now I just want to mention that with webpack we can do a lot of customization of the things that are imported. So for example, we can configure webpack in a way that is actually pretty pretty easy, pretty straightforward, that will allow us to import CSS files directly from JavaScript. So this is nice when we are building JavaScript applications. So our mind is always in JavaScript, and the CSS files are always kind of like just on the side. And the other options that we are having is we can customize the way how the JavaScript files are being included. We can use, for example, Babel for transpiling JavaScript. So Babel is a project that is kind of compiling the newest JavaScript into JavaScript that will work with older browsers as well. So this is very useful tool that helps us support older browsers. And with Webpack, we can easily configure it in a way that we on our code base, we are using the newest JavaScript available, and but we are still supporting older browsers. Or we can even Webpack allows us to configure what kind of files we can import. So, for example, we can have a loader that allows us to include TypeScript files, which is another improvement that we can have in our project to have a bit more static typing and to have our code base more manageable. If you've been in JavaScript world long enough, you probably have known some projects that were supposed to fix some technical issues, but actually right now you can mostly find them as a kind of like legacy stuff that is being used in projects, and mostly people want to get rid of it. And you have a lot of projects that are similar to that offers similar features to what Webpack offers. So there is like a whole bunch of different tools that you could use to achieve pretty much the same results. But as of now, Webpack is the longest, is the oldest, and the most established and most popular one. So it's very likely that on your next job or at some point in your current place, you guys will end up using Webpack. So it makes sense to learn it on your own. And as it's popular tool, when you learn it in one place, it's very likely you will be able to use that knowledge in other places as well.